Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CureCMD's Affected Individual Mental Health Part 2 webinar. If you were with us last weekend for Part 1, thanks for joining us again. My name is Avery Roberts, and I work in Outreach and Engagement for CureCMD. I'm also here alongside Callie Berger, the Outreach and Engagement Coordinator for CureCMD as well, and the rest of our CureCMD outreach team. We're very excited to continue this journey with you as we dive into the new year and getting refreshed with our mental health. All right, so for today's discussion, we are going to explore creative adaptive outlets with interactive panelists through adaptive yoga, dance, sports, gaming, and equine-assisted activities. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing on our YouTube channel in the coming days. And we're also going to be having an audience interactive discussion at the end of the webinar. That is where you can ask your questions and get them answered by either the usual Zoom Q&A portal at the bottom of your screen, or we will be giving everyone permission to turn your camera on and or unmute if you'd like. We will also not be recording the audience discussion to respect everyone's privacy. There's also the regular Zoom chat portal. You're welcome to chat there, or ask any tech questions, etc. We have staff monitoring both, so they are happy to answer any questions you may have. So let's meet our speakers. We have Miranda McCarthy and LEONG, who are from Adaptive Yoga. We have Dana SPETT and Abigail West from Pony Power Therapies. We have GAYNER and AGNES FERRO, who are from the National Dance Institute, Roger Brooks from Able Gamers, and then we have Judy Goss, who is a certified mental health and performance consultant, and it's with the CSPA, the Canadian Sport Psychology Association. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Miranda and Lynn to tell us a little bit about Adaptive Yoga Live, and I think lead us through a mini lesson session. Miranda, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, hi everybody. So happy to be here. I am the founder of Adaptive Yoga Live, and we provide adaptive yoga for people with disabilities. I've had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 2. I'm now 45, and I only found adaptive yoga about 2 years ago, and it really changed my life. It helped me reduce my pain. It helped me reduce my stress, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's session. So we're going to play you a little video, and then I'm going to hand it over to Lynn, who is our teacher today. She is incredible. She's been a physiotherapist for 25 years, and she's also a yoga therapist, which means she's had over 1,000 hours of training. She's awesome. So without further ado, let me play the video, and off we go. So I'm going to pass it over to Lynn, and I just want to let everybody know that we are actually offering 4 free classes in March with Lynn. So if you like what you experienced today, then I'm going to pop a link in the chat and you can sign up to join some free classes online. Okay, over to Lynn.
All right, thanks, Miranda. Thank you. So as you know, I'm Lynn. I'm going to take you through just a really short practice, just to give you some experience of some of the points that were in the video there. And I think the first thing is to remember what was at the end of the video there is even in this short practice today, if there's anything that I suggest and you think that's not going to work for you, especially if it's going to feel unsafe, then don't do it. So it's not a matter of trying to do everything and trying to push on or follow every instruction. Find out what works for you, dip in, dip out. Maybe you just want to watch for some of it. It's up to you. So we've got about 10 minutes together. So I'm going to start off bringing that awareness to the body. So in the chair, in your seated position, how can you bring more awareness to the body? How can we bring more awareness to the feet? We're going to start with the feet. So for me, sitting in this chair, I've got these blocks and I'm going to put my feet up on these blocks. Now, it's probably not a good time to start moving around and trying to get equipment and things for your feet, but you want to get your feet on the floor if you can, or if you have your feet on foot plates, then make sure they're well placed. And can you do anything to feel your feet on the ground, on the foot plates, wherever they happen to be, to get them really placed, you get that grounding sensation. And then thinking about where we meet the chair, so the backs of the thighs and the pelvis. Again, what can you do to feel the body resting into that support? And it might be that you're sitting forwards in the chair like I am right now. It might be that you're sitting back into the chair and you've got the back of the chair to rest on. And whatever position you're in, how can you adjust yourself to find a little more space? And especially finding some more space, around our trunk. So can you sit up taller? And sometimes when we sit up tall, we tend to, really use lots of effort to try and get there. And we want to watch for that happening. So we want to try and find some space, sitting up a little taller if we can, but without really gripping and without having to get really, really stiff and rigid. And for most people, when we start trying to sit up taller, our attention comes away from our feet. So let's get some attention down into the feet. Can you feel your feet? Whatever can be felt, whether you have sensation of your feet there, on the ground or the foot plates, or whether it's just bringing the awareness to the feet. Can you keep your awareness with your feet and sit up tall at the same time? So we're starting to be more aware of our bodies and more aware of our bodies from the inside. How is it to inhabit the body? How does it feel to be in the body? Sometimes it can feel a little uncomfortable, and anytime you want to, if you want to have a little wiggle and a move, or have a break and come back, or just have a listen, then that's all great. Okay. So let's just bring our awareness to our breath. For some people, being aware of the breath, it's easier if you close your eyes. For some people, closing their eyes doesn't feel really comfortable, so you might want to keep your eyes open. And for this part, maybe don't look straight at the screen. There's so much information coming in, so much light, so much sensory input coming from the screen. So if you've got your eyes open, maybe just take your gaze down a little lower, or just look off away from the screen for a moment. I'm going to close my eyes because that helps me bring my awareness to my breath. And so just noticing, how does your breath feel right now? Or where do you feel your breath? Can you feel that your body moves as you breathe in and out? You might feel that movement in your chest or your shoulders, or your abdomen, your belly. Where can you feel it? Can you breathe in and out through your nose? If it's comfortable to do so, you can keep breathing in and out through the nose. If that's not comfortable, then breathe in whichever way is best. And I'm going to make the breath really quite slow, or as slow as feels comfortable. So we talk about a deeper breath, and the deeper breath being helpful for calming the nervous system. But sometimes when people think about a deeper breath, it can tend to be a bit gasping. So, and that's not what we want right now. So can you make your breath deeper by making it a little slower? Can you make your breath deeper by taking the breath down into the body more, as if you were breathing all the way down into the belly? And this is one of the best practices anyone can do for yoga, is this awareness of our breath. And we can do this check-in with the breath at any time during the day. It can be really helpful for, well, one, bringing awareness, but also giving us some feedback as to how we are, how our internal weather, if you like, is at that moment. So you may like to open your eyes for this next bit. If you had them closed, you could still keep them closed and listen and follow through. So just a little bit of movement. And on your next breath in, can you start to move your shoulders? So you may be drawing them up. As you breathe out, they come back down. It might be as you breathe in, you take your shoulders forwards and up. So there's that rolling motion. And as you breathe out, they come back and down. It may be that you're moving one shoulder and then the other shoulder. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this. So find some movement for the shoulders. And the real key thing is to move with your breath. So as you breathe in, you're doing a movement, probably lifting your shoulders up. As you breathe out, they're coming down. I'm going to do one more. Excellent. Having an adjustment if you need to. Are you still aware of your feet? We've been doing lots of focus on the breath and then the shoulders. And once again, we tend to bring our awareness to those parts. That's good, but then have less awareness of the feet. So can we bring awareness to the feet? That grounding sensation, really helpful for that relaxing and for bringing us into our center and for bringing us into our bodies. So sitting up straight and tall again, feeling your feet or feeling the feet on the floor, on the foot plates. And this time, as you breathe out, going to look over the right shoulder. Again, just find out how your head and neck want to move today. Breathing in, coming back to the center. Breathing out, turning the other way. Breathing in, coming back to center. Going to do one more to the right. Just hold it there if that feels okay. Keep breathing. Can you be aware of whatever sensations you have coming from the neck or the shoulders or any other part of the body? Coming back to the middle. We're going to go once over the other way. Again, tune in. What information is coming from the body? What sensations are coming from the body? Coming back to the center. Okay, so we've got time for one more thing. 10 minutes goes really quickly. So sitting in your positions there, we're going to still use the breath. And as you breathe in, can you feel that there's a little lift of the chest? As you breathe out, can you feel there's a sensation of letting go, of relaxing, maybe of sinking down? I'm just going to do a few more like that. So breathing in. Can you feel the chest lifts? Breathing out, there's a sinking down. So you may like to stay with that. It may be that as you breathe in and lift the chest, you can actually start to sit forwards and sit up. And as you breathe out, you can sink down and back. And keep going with those, with that feeling from the breath. So the inhale is the lift and lengthen. The breath out is relaxing and coming down. It might be helpful, it might be appropriate that you can start to bring your arms, and that might help you find some lift. If moving your arms doesn't help that lift of the chest, then I'd leave them down on your legs or wherever they are resting. I'm going to do 3 more breaths like this. See if you can flow with the rhythm of the breath. You might want to close your eyes again. I'm going to go for 1 more. Wonderful. All right. And now just stay supported in the chair. As you breathe out, let go of any effort and tension that's not needed right now. So the shoulders can drop down away from the ears. You can sink down into that support. You can lean in to the support of the chair, of the ground. Just for a couple of breaths, you might like to close your eyes, and as you breathe out, sinking down, leaning into that support. And as we lean into the support, we can also lean into this present moment. And opening your eyes when you're ready, having a little move, maybe having a deeper breath. And that's the end of our short practice. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Lynn and Miranda. So next we're going to hear from Kay and Agnes on adaptive dance and the program they created at the National Dance Institute, the Dream Project. Take it away, ladies.
Hi, thank you so much, Avery and Lynn and Miranda. That was beautiful. I feel much more centered now, so thank you for that. My name is Kay GAYNER. I'm Artistic Director, as Avery said, of National Dance Institute. And NDI was founded in 1976 with the belief and the mission that every child should have an opportunity to have high quality arts programming, and that every person, every human can dance and should if they have the desire to. And so since 1976, we've been devoted to providing that opportunity. And in Aggie and I met in, I think, Aggie, it was something like 2000 at PS 199, a public school in Manhattan on the Upper West Side. And that began our collaboration as teaching artist, choreographer, and physical therapy specialist, really enlarging and growing the idea of how to engage children in partnership, children with and without disabilities in partnership, to maximize participation and joy for every child in the room. And that has been kind of a practice for the two of us ever since. And when we obtained the center, National Dance Institute now has a center in Harlem. And once we had a space that was our own, Aggie and I, with Aileen Barry, who is a program magnificence human at NDI and the glue that keeps us all together, said we need to start something where we bring children together with a wide range of diagnoses to continue this work, to continue to teach us as we teach them, and create choreography inspired by every child's unique abilities. Yeah, so the dancing that we do, we're performance oriented. So every time we have a workshop or a series of classes, it ends in a performance, public performance, sometimes for a huge audience, sometimes for a gathering of friends and family and community. And the performances highlight the partnership, maximize participation and joy. We find creating the community and the connections between the children and really working toward the common goal of a performance really maximizes joy for us and for the children. And I would just add too, we always have live music at all of our classes and our performances. And we also find that that amplifies the joy and engagement for everyone. And I will toss it with that to you, Ms. Agnes.
I will catch it, Miss K. Hi, everyone. My name is Agnes, and at NDI, I'm known as Aggie. That is absolutely my family nickname. And I just wanted to start off by saying everyone can dance. And I think sometimes, we all sort of have our own vision of what that should look like. And I think that one of the things Kay highlighted so beautifully is it isn't up to us. It isn't what we would define or picture. It's sort of this great collaboration of answering the question, do you want to dance? Do you want to be part of this class? Then you are part of this class. And even it was so beautiful in the presentation that Lynn and Miranda just gave, and they talked about the smallest movements. And those smallest, tiniest of movements are beautiful portions of choreography that are translated for the entire group. So if you'll let me, I'm just going to attempt to share my screen. I just want to show you, because I think it's one thing to talk about it, but it's quite another. So sorry. I'm going to stop sharing because this is not what I want to share. I wanted to share some pictures. But we'll get to that maybe at the end. And that is just to describe that when we started this, we listened to the children and the families. And what we sort of envisioned were children who might be wheelchair users, manual or power, or might utilize a gait trainer or walker. And what we found was everyone came into the room. Everyone wanted to be there. And so the practice of adaptive dance is if you are a family member and your beloved family member is indicating that they enjoy music and or movement of even the most minute movements, it's you, that your voice matters, you matter, and you absolutely belong in any dance class that you want. So everyone can dance, and the interpretation and the translation of that is really endless. It matters to who is in the class. That's what defines what that looks like. The second thing I'll talk about is really the benefits of dance. And anybody who has heard of Mark Morris and Dance for Parkinson's, Dance for PD, it's proven. Research has proven. This is multifactorial. This is cardiovascular, respiratory. There are all of these physical benefits that come out. And I think one of the things that we're really learning are all of the intangible benefits that arise from this. And so we're completing research now regarding DREAM and really trying to get the perspectives of all of the participants, everyone, family members, children themselves. Their voice matters the most they matter. And really, what are they saying? What are they indicating as far as what they need? In order for me to participate in this dance class, I need. And oftentimes it's very clear. Other times it's, I think that I might need in order to participate more, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. And so I think that there's, as important as the physical benefits are, and indeed they are, I also think that the intangible benefits are so wide reaching. They go beyond the walls of the dance class, I feel, and we're seeing reflected in the research that the families are reporting, that there's empowerment, it just goes beyond what we would expect as far as just a simple part of a dance class. So adaptive dance, I think, may be a very unique to what you may be envisioning, but for us, it's not that we're creating choreography and coming. We're looking at opportunities for movement from each and every participant, and Kay highlighted it so beautiful. It is a partnership, so it's also empowering that partnership to create movements that highlight each of them. And so that's something to really take forward. I will toss it back to Kay as I try and figure out, Kay, how to share this without starting with the video.
Thanks, Agnes. And I'm just building on that. Our Jacques D'Amboise, our founder, always used to say, dance is controlling your body in space and time. I don't know about that, but moving in space and time, using space and time, employing space and time in an intentional way to express emotion and to communicate and process emotion. And I really think that's one of the benefits for everyone of dance. Music also helps to make that happen and make that possible. So I think that is one of the things that we always experience when we're in the room with a bunch of children, learning each other, learning how to be a great partner to each other, and exploring what's possible. Aggie and I always look at sort of an asset-minded approach to creating choreography. So the first question is, what can the child do? What can the partnership? What are the possibilities? How do we build on those? And also, how do we use those to create dances that nobody's ever seen before and really, really celebrate that? And, I think that engaging in that kind of activity as a group with the common goal of a performance really does enhance my mental health for sure, and the feeling of well-being and the friendships that we see develop in the room. Many times our workshops are over a 4 or 5 day period. We meet on day 1, and by day 2, they are fast friends, creating their own choreography or their own translations of choreography we give them. And just participating in that way, I think, gives everyone a sense of an ability, a way to express emotion through movement. Doesn't have to be verbal. It can be a different way of communicating with an audience and with each other, and exploring the possibilities of that, I think, is one of the big benefits of participating in adaptive dance. Are you all set up, Aggie?
I am indeed. So I think that part of what I would love to highlight for you is that when we first started this, again, we sort of had this vision of sort of who would want to be there, who would envision themselves. And I just want to cut to, I just recently was working with a child who told me that he wanted to be a New York City firefighter. And so I was arguing with myself because I was thinking to myself, how do I tell him that that's maybe not possible? Because he is an individual who has paralysis from the waist down. And so I kept thinking to myself, how do I bring this up to him in the most beneficial of ways, without hurting him, without, and do you know what he said to me? I looked at him and I was stumbling over my words, and he looked at me and he pointed to his wheelchair and he said, I'm not carrying them out of the building. I just want to be the guy that does all the phone calls. And I thought to myself, duh, like I don't need to define what his vision is. And so I hope that those are listening, that you should be empowered in every aspect of your life to know that your voice is what matters, be it in a dance class, in a yoga class, wherever you are, your voice, and even your family members who may have to support you in getting your message across, it matters such a great deal. So these are some of the families that have participate. I will say that her nickname, I won't share her name, but I will say her nickname is the Human Smile, because her mother has shared that when she turns down the street to come to where Dream is currently located, she is vaulting out of her chair and shrieking with excitement because she knows exactly where she is going. And so that this is expressing to you, I do hope that it is not limited by ability. That doesn't come into play. It is just you being in the room is what the defining parameters are, if indeed there are any. So this is just to show you that this is layers of intangibles. So it's not just doing, you know, the aspect of, is it good for cardiovascular? Yes. Is it good for your musculoskeletal system? Yes. Is it good for your nervous? Yes. Is it good for your mental well-being? Yes. Is it good for participation and inclusion? Yes. Yes. So all of this matters, and all of it comes into one big package. So you can see in this picture, all of the smiling faces. I would probably argue that perhaps you would have a hard time identifying all those who have some sort of developmental diagnosis. And so one of the aspects that Kay highlighted so beautifully is that all of this culminates into a performance. And so this partnership is just one of which was having nothing but joy as they were performing in front of an audience of Kay Help Me. It was a huge audience. One of the dancers, go ahead, Kay.
Oh, no, I was just going to say this. I think this performance ended up being at the Skirball Center. So thousands of people in the audience for.
Yeah. And one of your own community members is highlighted right here in red, a beautiful, beautiful dancer and performer.
Well, if you ever plan to motor west, just take my way. That's the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, if I from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Now it goes to St. Louis, down to Missouri, Oklahoma City, mighty pretty you'll see. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't work at Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino. If you can take this kind of trip and go take that California trip, say get your kicks on Route 66. Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty, you'll see. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino. Would you get hip to this kind of trip and go take that California trip? Get your kicks on Route 66. Say,
would just end by saying, if you are taking a dance class, one of the things that we really teach is translations, which is thinking about the essence of the movement that we want to capture, the spirit, either the emotion or the sense of direction, and then making translations with what is available to you. That just captures some aspect of what you're seeing. So I do think, please, we love all are welcome at Dream, but also go to a dance class, take one online and do your version and do you, and do it with full belief that that is absolutely dance and absolutely available to you. And you are in charge, and you know your bodies very well and can find your way into creative expression through dance.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Aggie and Kay. Next, we are going to hear from maybe Dana, but especially Abigail on equine-assisted activities and pony power. The floor is yours, ladies.
Thank you so much, Avery. My name is Abigail West, and I'm here to speak with you all about equine-assisted activities. Just a brief introduction of myself. I'm a social worker and the program manager of Pony Power Therapies in Mahwah. Pony Power is a nonprofit organization that uses horses and an accessible farm to enhance the physical, social, and emotional well-being of children and adults who may need special support. So we offer equine-assisted activities that range from riding to non-riding, and the non-riding includes grooming sessions, mindfulness, even some fun yoga alongside of a horse. We have a staff of fully trained and certified horse experts to safely accommodate people on the farm and allow for all of the benefits to come along with these great activities. So even though I'm here at Pony Power Therapies, I do want to tell you that equine-assisted activities can be found all over the world. I know that people are tuning in from a lot of different places. So if this ends up being something that interests you, then I encourage you to do some searching for a therapeutic farm near you. Just be sure that there are trained, certified professionals to help you safely participate in these activities. So just like a lot of these activities that we're talking about today, I think that it's best to show you a video of one of our activities. I'm going to show you a video of the mounted therapeutic riding sessions, just so you can get a little bit of a better sense of what our program is like and what equine-assisted activities can look like. This is going to be a video of horseback riding, but I can go into more detail about our other activities as well.
Pony Power began in 2000 with 1 horse and 4 riders, based out of a need to work with one of my children who presented with minor special needs. Through research, therapeutic riding popped up as a wonderful adjunct approach to helping her meet those challenges. And as a lifelong equestrian and social worker, it seemed like the perfect fit. So we went from 1 horse and 4 riders to 4 horses and 20 riders, and we bought a farm in Mahwah, and the farm has continued to serve the population in our community. This past year, we expanded our footprint and bought the property where we're sitting right now, which added an extra 3 acres with office space and a new barn to expand programming on the ground, which is a non-riding program. And we've yet to find a population where horses cannot affect positive change in a human's life. So Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock is Olivia's riding time. It's been her riding time for the past several semesters. I can't even tell you, it's probably almost 2 years. We're told by her parents that she wakes up in the morning, knows what day it is, and basically continues to ask when is it time to go to Pony Power. You're doing such a good job.
It's almost time.
I'm going to take you over to Evie, okay? Her instructor, Abigail, will come and greet Olivia, help her get her equipment on, her helmet and her belt. We'll take her hand and walk her up to the arena. We have a mounting ramp where everyone gets on the horse. Olivia will get on her horse, Evie, who's this beautiful Norwegian fjord. There is a lead walker for the horse, a side walker on one side who's a volunteer, and the instructor. And right away she will be cued to her different commands, which would be 3, 2, 1, walk on to go, 1, 2, 3, whoa to stop.
1, 2, 3, whoa. Good job.
That's all the commands that everyone at Pony Power learns, whether you're verbal or nonverbal, child or adult. Those are our basic commands, so there's that consistency and repetition. She'll then move on to some stretches, which is really helping her find her center on the back of a horse and isolate and follow directions, one hand up, the other hand up, both hands up. So really learning, rather than through words, but through feel, what it's like to be on the back of a horse and what muscles have to kick in and what sensory awareness she has to have at that moment. And then every lesson has an individualized plan that she's working on a progression of horseback riding skills that are appropriate to her. So she's learning now in a saddle to do what's called 2-point or jumping position, which is a really tough balance to do, but she does it beautifully. She's learning how to steer and hold her reins and isolate her trunk from her arms. So lots of multi-step directions that we know have a therapeutic goal and a therapeutic quality too, but she's learning how to ride a horse. So that's kind of that sneaky way that it's a therapeutic opportunity, but it's a recreational sport that we hope will be a lifelong sport.
This is unbelievable.
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Whoa. Here's Hannah again.
So it's really the input from the environment, from the movement, and from being on the back of a horse that's reacting as if a human reacts. So they breathe, they sneeze, they startle, they react to different sounds, and they also react to the way the ground is. If there's some dips and valleys or ups and downs, the horse is going to react. So it's a very sensory rich, kind of invigorates your body, if you will.
Red Rover, if you're riding a girl pony, come over.
Is Evie a girl?
Yeah.
Good. 3, 2, 1.
Last time.
1,
2, 3,
4.
5.
And so there's that mindfulness that when working with our different therapists and doctors say is so important, that being present and being mindful, that helps with stress reduction. Less stress leads to less inflammation, perhaps less effects from medications, and a whole host of other benefits that you would get from being mindful, being present, being out in nature, and interacting with nature.
Okay, so that was Dana SPETT, our executive director of Pony Power. Just like I am, she too is a lifelong equestrian and also a nature enthusiast. And you might gather from that video that nature plays a big role in the time spent on the farm. So all of these benefits tie together from the time that you spend with the horse or on the horse, and then just the environment that we're set in. So there are a lot of positive aspects of equine-assisted activities. One of the beautiful things is that it's a universal application. It can be enjoyed as an individual, as a family, or as a group. And it's a really great complementary and alternative therapeutic activity as it connects the mind, body, and spirit. It capitalizes on nature, and nature, including just opening your gaze to look at trees around you or between the horse's ears. It has its own set of motivators in a therapeutic setting. When you're on the back of a horse, the movement of the horse actually mimics that of human gait, with their leg going left and then their other leg going forward right. So depending on, it doesn't depend on anyone's individual mobility, but when you're placed on the back of the horse, you can actually borrow the movement from the horse. And that gives physical and neurological input that helps really fire off our human synapses. So in addition to the physical benefits and the neurological benefits, speaking of mental health, it really seems to relieve stress. When you're with a horse, whether you're on the ground, grooming, or practicing a formal mindfulness activity, or riding a horse, you really need to be present in the moment, and attending to one thing at a time in any setting seems to relieve stress. But the beautiful thing about being with a horse is they really demand your attention, because even when you're with a trained professional, it's humbling to be next to a horse with their size. And there is that human instinct that tells us, I need to be cautious around this animal. So, you know, you're not going to be able to be on your phone or having a side conversation. You're really paying attention to the movement of the horse, the attitude of the horse, and then also checking your energy with theirs. And there's really a nice mirroring dance that goes on when you're spending time with a horse. Of course, as humans, we just love recreation and the pure enjoyment that comes with learning something new. Horses don't judge and they're unbiased, which makes them excellent colleagues in this field of therapeutic activities. They don't know the difference between diagnoses. They don't know the difference between spoken language. They're nonverbal themselves. And so they come with no judgment. Like I said, no bias, and you can really, it's just a pure interaction. So also, I know that we've been talking about this a lot since the beginning of the pandemic, but one of our grand challenges in our society is loneliness and social isolation. So just bonding with animals. We also have, besides horses, we have goats, chickens, pigs, and sheep. We just added some sheep to our group of animals here, but it's just really nice to be with other warm living beings and being able to touch them and feel their breath and listen to how they communicate with each other. So the boundaries that social isolation have created don't seem to exist on the farm. There's no ableism. It's all inclusive, and we're really taking the animals and in their natural setting of the farm and right along the woods, they're just going through their daily routine, and we really take their lead. And that's a purist approach to therapeutic activities. In terms of learning new skills, whether you're working in the barn, grooming a horse, or feeding a horse, or riding a horse, it just feels good to learn, no matter who you are. Learning is growth, and that's a big staple in our programs. It feels good, it builds confidence, it helps a person identify their own strengths and then hopefully capitalize on that outside of the farm. Even learning how to follow a routine that is adapted to a certain person's abilities. And then they realize, oh, I can do something just like this outside of the farm. Or now I have the confidence to do my daily routine because I feel a little more independent. So all of those things we see unfold on the farm, and we just hope that it's a special activity for people that they can also rely on when they aren't on the farm. So that's about all that I have to say. Like I said, Dana and I are happy to talk to anyone and everyone about the therapeutic benefits of horses and nature. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I know that you have our contact information. And if you have any questions, I think I see a couple in the chat, but I'll wait until the formal Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Abigail, you guys have clients who are non-ambulatory or like wheelchair users, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So everybody, so we have a wide range of clientele who come, everyone from 2.5-year-olds to people in their 90s. But in terms of ambulation, yes, some people are wheelchair users. Some, like the rider in the video, she doesn't use a wheelchair. But we do provide any level of support that can help someone safely participate in our activities. So we do transfer from wheelchair to horseback. And if someone is unable to ride for whatever reason it might be, there is a weight limit to horseback riding. So something like that, then we have other activities to offer that are more based in the barn alongside of a horse.
All right, thanks, Abigail. Now we're going to hear from Roger on adaptive gaming and able gamers. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you, Avery. And thank you for allowing me to be part of a panel with such amazing people that are really not only doing life-altering work, but life-saving work. So my name is Roger Brooks, and I'm the Director for Mental Health at Able Gamers. And I wanted to talk a little bit about adaptive play and really challenge this conception that it's an end-all, be-all goal in and of itself. At Able Gamers, what we do is our mission is really to challenge and really work to diminish social isolation through specifically combating social isolation through adaptive play. When we think of adaptive play, this is really what we think of, which is fantastic. These are pictures from events that Able Gamer has sponsored, and also some of the custom setups that we've done for some of our registered alumni. Now, adaptive play is really this first step when it comes to combating social isolation, because we're giving individuals the ability. So we work with the individuals who have visible and invisible disabilities, and we're removing that initial barrier to engage with play. But it's really just the tip of the iceberg. The notion of giving someone a custom adapter and then that in and of itself will do away with social isolation is just a misnomer. And we're really challenging that preconception, because I think when people think of Able Gamers, this is what they think of. And it's really so much more. We know that there are highly correlated mental health conditions and challenges, along with physiological conditions and challenges associated with social isolation. We've got depression, anxiety, PTSD symptomology, digestive issues. And one thing that we've really been able to get deeper insight into with the COVID pandemic is the impact of social isolation. So really wanted to frame this in perception of and the worldview of the people that we serve, of our population. And really the difference is with the pandemic, we're seeing this amazing research coming out that social isolation is having these really impactful consequences that really hinders functionality. And we're seeing cases of individuals that go through as little as 10 days of social isolation may have psychological consequences up to 3 years afterwards. We're constantly hearing in the news today, when are we going to get back to normal? With this pandemic, when are we ever going to get back to normal? And we're hearing all these different answers when we reach this level of vaccination, when we reach this level of herd immunity, but there's still an end goal in sight. There's still a light at the end of the tunnel. Now imagine the population we serve doesn't have that. And we're not talking about social isolation for a couple years. We're talking about social isolation for decades. And being not only the social isolation, but being marginalized by a community and a society that really wants to put individuals out of sight and out of mind. So what we do at Able Gamers is we want to empower individuals much more holistically. So we engage individuals really where their needs are. And this is our continuum of support. And our goal is to decrease social isolation, which with it comes a decrease of psychological distress, emotional distress, or social isolation. And we believe in that there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to adaptive gaming in terms of social isolation. So we engage individuals through a triage approach where individuals are engaged, we see what their needs are, and they will have very individualized journeys through our continuum of support. An individual that has a virtual community and they just want to be able to play a new game, they already have the community component. So what we'll do is we'll facilitate their play. We'll provide an adaptive controller, and if one doesn't exist, you'd be amazed at what passionate teammates can do with a 3D printer. We'll create a controller for them. And for that individual, that's really all they need. So we provide them the controller, the adaptive controller, so they can play. And then we may have them engage with our community engagement team. But for other individuals, and this is the majority of what we're seeing individuals coming in that don't have the ability to play a game, don't have a community, a virtual community, and are in significant psychological distress. So for those individuals, we really engage them with everything we have. We'll engage them with peer counseling to get them the tools and the skill set necessary to play. We'll engage them with the mental health team to really walk them through what that engagement, that virtual community engagement would look like through SMART goals, and really assisting them in creating those virtual relationships, and finally handing them off to what we consider is our aftercare, which is the community engagement program. At the end of it all, our goal is for our alumni that works through the continuum is to become our player twos, right? They become our peer mentors, and they normalize the process for individuals that are just now starting to come into the process. And I know I'm flying through this, guys, but everyone's been saying that 10 minutes flies by, and it really does. But really, the point I really wanted to really emphasize is that the adaptive component of adaptive gaming is often viewed as the end goal, and it's really not. I really wanted to challenge, and one of our goals this year is to really challenge the national dialogue around that it's only the beginning of that individual's journey. And we're doing a great disservice if we're taking individuals that are already marginalized. They're already taught that somehow that disability is at fault for everything. We're doing them a great disservice if we're making an assumption that providing them an adaptive controller is all that they need, and really challenging the way that the medical model is really used to further provide barriers for access to care and access to gaming. I know that the ICD-11 just came out, and they have a new disorder that they're calling a gaming disorder. And unfortunately, the individuals that we serve under the diagnostic criteria of the ICD-11 would automatically receive a diagnosis of this disorder, this gaming disorder. So really changing the way that the medical community is viewing this, and really showing them that this, to some people, this is the only way that they have to engage socially. So I know I flew through that. I'm happy to answer any questions. Here's our contact information, and I'll put our website online. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this panel. It's just amazing and inspiring to see all this work being done.
Okay, well, finally, we're going to hear from Judy on adaptive sports and power hockey. So just want to say thank you for joining us, Judy.
Power hockey is very much like an equalizer, so it doesn't matter what your ability is. It doesn't matter, if you have a lot of physical strength or none at all. It's one that anyone can play.
Met lots of friends here. It's like a second family. It's given me so many experiences, like traveling to Australia and Italy, being able to represent my country.
Canada is known as one of the leaders in hockey, so to go abroad and play a game, it makes me proud and proud of the sport I play.
Power Hockey Canada has allowed me to experience a competitive atmosphere that I think is really irreplaceable in disabled sports.
You see, over the years I've seen a completely different attitude in the different individuals. The friendships that they make, the companionships that they develop through it, and you see everything change, their whole life change. And they want to be here. It's not that they're forced into sports or anything like that. They're here because they want to be here and they enjoy it, and that's very important.
It's important that Power Hockey Canada exists because I feel like it gives a wide variety of disabled athletes a competitive outlet that they wouldn't otherwise have, while allowing them to foster these relationships with not only their teammates but players from other teams, and the opportunity to travel to different places within the country, which is often rare for people that have disabilities.
The Power Hockey Canada Cup is really an opportunity for our elite para-athletes to showcase their abilities amongst the next level of competition in really an intense but also inclusive environment.
It's the highest level of competition you can have in this sport. The players come into a new environment where they want to win and they play their best. And I think those kind of things are important because it allows athletes who don't usually get to play in that competitive environment an outlet for that competitive drive.
One of our main goals as Power Hockey Canada is to really inspire Canadians from across the country, coast to coast, to get involved in any way that they can.
Before I was not so much talkative, but now I have developed that leadership skills where I talk to my teammates and basically be the captain of my team and then communicate with them. And that has resulted me talking to my coworkers and not being shy or anything like that.
Power Hockey Canada has allowed me to experience things that I never thought I would experience, like traveling, and meeting different players and just watching them that if they can do it, I can play better myself and help my teammates out, and it's been amazing.
Representing my country abroad is something I can say I've never would have imagined I'd be able to do. It's such an honor to wear the Canadian Maple Leaf and travel across the world and represent your country.
When I was younger, I would always watch my brother play hockey, and I was thinking, why couldn't that be me?
There's no depth to the distance that they can go with this.
We encourage a lot of people to come and watch, to see what it's all about and how much fun everyone has and how kind and nice everyone is to each other.
People who are out there in wheelchairs and they think maybe they don't have a sport out there for them. Well, after hopefully seeing this video, and maybe that opened their eyes and this, okay, there is something out there for them, and that they'll come join and play and stuff like that, and have the great experience that I've had.
There's a place for everybody in this organization.
Power hockey is not necessarily just for para-athletes. Other individuals can really benefit from the sport, be it coaching or volunteering. It's an opportunity to learn about a community that people may not have interaction or exposure to. So anyone can really benefit from power hockey, not just the players themselves.
There's a world championship out there waiting with our name on it. Who knows?
Thanks, Avery. I thought that I'd start off with that video because I think really the athletes, the coaches, they really speak to the importance of just play. Everybody can play and everybody should play. My first introduction to real para sports was with the Canadian men's wheelchair basketball team that's won, 3 Paralympic medals. And, it's really a high level sport, but I also was introduced to the greater community, and it's been great to be involved with power hockey. And I think that everyone's spoken here about how that kind of physical activity is beneficial. And, I can certainly speak to the physical skills that, people learn from participating, but also the mental skills. That's my wheelhouse where I work with, athletes in terms of developing their performance. But being able to focus your attention, managing, your nerves, speaking positively to yourself, all those things are really important. The emotional skills, being able to manage your emotions and continuing and pushing through different challenging, and even the social skills of, communicating effectively, motivating others, showing your leadership skills. There's such a great opportunity to develop a variety of skills. And not only that, something that really has a great impact on our well-being and our mental health is just that aspect of growth and learning, doing something different. I hope that, during COVID, everybody's tried to do something different and tried to learn something about themselves, changing up your routine, managing things that you don't usually have to manage, challenging yourself. And, we can really learn and develop from seeing others do things that we maybe can do. I think, people have touched on just the isolation and the loneliness of being, with COVID, getting out there and seeing other people. It's very much a benefit. And I think the one thing that most of the people spoke about on the video was the benefit to being part of a team. There's such a benefit to that. And I hope everybody right now is watching the Olympics and cheering for their team. We all love that. And I think, it doesn't mean that you have to also participate. You can also assist and volunteer in any kind of way. Just being, a cheerleader is certainly being part of the team. But we know that social affiliation, that building of friendships and relationships and building a sense of community is so vital to all of us. So I think providing people with the opportunity, sport is one avenue to do it. And there's so many creative ways that people are allowing people with a disability to get out there and participate. I think it's great. And, the one thing that I have to say about power hockey is we just lost, our co-founder, Paul. He was, passionate about sports, loved the Toronto Blue Jays. And like I said, he co-founded Power Hockey Canada 3 or 4 years ago, I would have to say, and we lost him just in December 2021. So that was kind of sad for our community. But know that he would want us all to continue on. And so I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet right there and give it back to Avery.
So just like Judy mentioned, we want to take a moment to honor and pay tribute to a beloved CureCMD community member we recently lost, Paul de Saulniers. He was such a positive light in our community and truly cherished by all. He was the president and co-founder of Power Hockey Canada, like Judy said. He actually did a CureCMD blog post on CureCMD's website that you can go check out to really see and hear his love of sports. So his love and dedication for power hockey was unmatched and deserves special recognition, and he will be missed immensely. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. A very big thank you to our speakers as well. We hope you found value in learning about these activities and outlets you learned about today. I personally partake in some of them, and they have truly made my life so fulfilling. CureCMD is also a great resource to connect with others traveling the same journey as you. To find links, you can visit our website at curecmd.org, and you'll find support under the community menu tab, and those are very helpful. Stay tuned for information about our next webinar coming this spring. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at outreach@curecmd.org. We're more than happy to answer any questions, whether that be any questions about the webinars or the webinar series or any other CureCMD programming. And then don't forget to save the date for SciFam this summer. We're very excited to be back in person and to be heading down to Nashville June 30th to July 3rd. For more information and to subscribe for email updates, you can go to scifam.info. We would love to keep the conversation going. So you can share with us what you learned today by tagging us at CureCMD. And yeah, so thanks everyone again for joining us. We hope to see you at our next webinars and have a great rest of your weekend.